as land and the land preparation is very important to crop farmers, so that livestock farmers also need to be sure and know what kind of structure feeds the particular livestock farming they are going to do. This week on the Ghanaian Farmer, we tell you, or we are going to enlighten you about different types of normal, common structures that you can, together with your workers, you can put together, or you can go and look for a carpenter to come and help you put together at a very affordable cost, using materials around your neighborhood. Looking from behind, you can see that this particular structure is made from the usual trees we have in our forest. So we'll be chit-chatting with the founder of Farming in Africa, Fred, to enlighten me about the journey of the structure that they started their livestock farming with, and what informed him to actually adopt this concept and use it on his farm. How far has it helped him as a farmer? My name is Anyinam, and this is the Ghanaian Farmer. If it is your first time, please follow at home, subscribe, and enjoy the interview. Fred, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
So this week, a lot of people are out there watching your interview on YouTube, Farming in Africa, the Ghanaian Farmer, and the number one question is, okay, what structure do I start with? How do I gather the materials? Is it even affordable?
Yeah.
So you run me through your journey when you're about to start.
So my journey in goat farming started with 2 goats at my backyard, and I got a lot of education, especially from East Africa and from South Africa. And one thing I realized is that, goats, even though they don't need too much space in terms of where they are going to sleep, because of diseases, you need to have enough room so that they are not dealing with mud or stepping in their poop. So with that in mind, there are 2 ways you can basically put together your structure. Okay. You can either do the elevated one where your structure is lifted above the ground, or you can just have it on the ground. I've gone to farms where people have them right at the ground, their poop is there and so on. The disadvantage is that they step in their poops, they get foot rots, and they get a lot of ticks. If that's what you're going to do, then you need to make sure that your hygiene is on point. You have people cleaning 2-3 times a day. If you do the elevated version, which is what I do normally here, it allows you to actually let the poop and their pee drop, because when you're doing the platform, you leave small inches in between. Small enough so that their legs do not enter, but big enough to allow their poop and urine to fall down as well. Right? So that's the 2 main different structures. In West Africa, we don't have much land, so mostly what we do is we try to build a bigger structure, divide it into portions, because in all livestock you want to separate them by maybe their breeds, maybe their sizes, or maybe the status they are in. For example, if you come to our farm, we have pregnant goats. That means goats that have been crossed. You separate them for so many reasons, but the most important thing is feeding. A pregnant goat's feed is different from a lactating mom than an active goat. So what we do is we separate them. We have pregnant goats, we have lactating moms, we have active goats, and then we have males and kids. So as a farmer, if you're starting well and a little bit bigger, you need 5 different spaces and to separate it in this way. So your male should never be mixed with all the females. If you have a pregnant female, you need to separate that pregnant female. Once that pregnant female gives birth, you need to separate that pregnant female, that mom, from all pregnant female. Once the child is up to a stage of weaning, depending on your program, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, you now take the child from the mom to another pen. So that makes it 5 different pens.
Right. Taking that into consideration, and from behind what we have, it is our usual wood from the forest. And then some nails, and then you're good to go. And then the other side, which I'll let viewers see, is made of the metal.
The wire mesh.
The wire mesh. Okay, so now this wood is it not expensive? How did you come by the wood?
They are very cheap, actually. So these are thick woods, right? In this area, we buy a thick. So the pillar, the pole of a thick tree, is about 15 cedis. So that is very affordable to use for the pillars. The backwood, which is what you're seeing here, a whole Kia truck full of it is about 300 cedis. So with maybe 2 truck, I'm able to construct this whole pen.
Okay.
Right, and this is actually wherever you have a tick processing center in your community. You know, mostly we export the ticks, so they cut the backs, and mostly the restaurants and the fishmongers will come and buy it and use it as firewood.
Okay.
I use it for my fencing, I use it for my structure. The reason is because it's not about the beauty.
Okay.
If you're doing business, one of the biggest mistake people do is they put money
Into the
into
structures.
places, not just even the structures, but places where they can't get the money back.
Okay.
You need to put majority of your money into where you will get the return from. Because the money put into structure is never coming back. Money put into electricity is never coming back. Into water is not coming back. But money put into the right stock, in the right breed, the return will come back. So my focus is the genetics.
Okay.
Structure, if I have money and I'm in the right position and good with my farm, I can change all this in a week.
Okay.
By buying quality wood, nice wood and so on.
Okay.
So I try to look for what is in my area that is affordable, but can make it work. And then that's what I use.
Okay. Now, talking about affordability, do you remember how much you had to raise to put all of this together?
I think I did for this portion.
Okay.
So that portion there, aside the roofing sheets with about 2,000, I was able to build a pen that could accommodate 30 goats.
Okay.
With just 2,000, just by the tick pillar and then the back of the tick and nails.
Okay.
And then roof, I think a packet is about 400 cedis.
Yes.
So this you probably will need 1 packet. So maybe you're looking at maximum 3,000. You should be able to construct a pen to take care of about 30
goats.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're so much encouraging for the affordability, and then you saying the materials available around you. But let's just talk about the quality and the durability of the pen that I'm putting together.
Yep.
How long has this been here?
This pen has been here about 4 years.
Okay.
So you know teak tree. Teak tree is the same tree that is used for our electricity poles.
Yes.
So that already tells you the durabilityness of it. It's a hardwood. What we do when we put it on the ground is either we create a concrete, we dig a hole, put concrete, and then we treat the tree as well. We treat it with diesel and what is this thing called? This black thing from a car, and then we just mix it together, and that's it. So we paint it with the bottom, we put it in the concrete, and it will last forever.
Okay.
And that's what we use. So that is able to really stay long, and that's what we've used for our farm since we started.
Okay. How about security?
Microphone.
How about security? This looks very spacious.
Yep.
There are some few grass
Yeah.
or weeds around,
Yep.
even though the whole place is fenced.
Yeah.
I'm scared of snakes.
Yeah.
And I'm also scared of somebody just coming to peel off the wood and can grab my goat and run away. How protective or secured is this?
Yeah, I mean, even banks, people break into it. So you can never be assured of 100% security. I think to us, so we have people at the farm here 24/7 that gives us enough security. As you can see, as I'm building a house here, I'm actually building it as part of the pen. So that in case there's an intruder and they start making noise, people here will hear of it, right? In terms of snake, we've been lucky. We haven't had any issue with snake. I think one important of elevating your pen also prevents snakes from like really climbing up there, right? So that also help you reduce that. But we haven't had any issue. We haven't had issue of theft. You know, I don't want to jinx it, but I think you should put in the right measures to protect it, especially with goats. I know that is a big concern of people because they are easy to be stolen as compared to cattle. But you need to make sure that your security is tight. There are a lot of like solar cameras that you can use. We are a bit away from the town, and we have people here, as I said, all the time. So that has been, I guess, the reason why we have it. Exactly.
Okay. Now, the one made with wire mesh versus the one made with wood. Which one is medium penny for? Which one is more affordable?
Yeah. So definitely this one is affordable, but I'm also moving. It's not about the cost. It's about the concept. right? So even though with this it's elevated and their poop comes down and all that, it's still, you still can't get it as clean
Okay.
as this.
Oh, okay.
So with this, they will be here till they go out to graze.
Yes.
But with this, they only go there at midnight.
Okay.
So when you come at 10, you see them lying down here.
Yeah.
11, they will all go inside. The moment the sun is out, they will come out here.
Okay.
So this then becomes their exercising yard, and they only sleep here. When you have this model, what happens is they sleep, they do everything here, right? And I think, you know, I want them to be healthy, to exercise. So aside their pen, I also create an exercising yard for. So this is the new model that I'm going with.
Okay.
And this is something that, through my experience, I've started. Even if you go to East Africa, they all build like this.
Yeah.
But this is a new model, and as you can see, my future projects are all like this.
Yeah.
And that is just to give them enough room to exercise, to also reduce the amount of infection they can get from here.
Okay. How about ventilation?
Yeah.
I know we still have enough spaces,
Yes.
but do they have? Yeah, the wire mesh, yes, they
Yes.
have enough ventilation. But how about the wood?
So if you're going to do the wood, I mean, that's one of the reasons that I'm moving away from this. Because if you're going to do the wood, then you don't want to keep them there for long.
Okay.
You know, they even need sun. I
Yeah.
mean, goats, they will communicate with you with their eye. Sometimes I'll come in there and I'll see some of them trying to peek out. They need sunlight.
Yeah.
So that's why, again, all these lessons have been taken into consideration and moving towards a pen that consists with an exercising yard as well.
Okay.
So that even if it's not time for them to go out and graze, they are still in the open, they are still getting sunlight, they are still able to jump and run around. And if it's raining quickly, they
They
will go
move
into
inside.
there.
Okay. All right. So viewers, you're still watching the Ghanaian Farmer. My name is Enyonam, and standing next to me is my colleague. We are all pushing one agenda, which is changing the narrative, the negative narrative about farming. It is a business. So if you're starting, start right. Treat it just the way you treat your office work, and you definitely make the result. So we are going further into the area where you have the new structures is put up, so you can see what we're talking about. I'll also let you see the wire mesh, and then we'll delve into costing. A lot of you are so much, you know, all about. And you know, maybe say yeah, I hear at the end of the day. Come with me. Let's go and see what Fred is doing when it comes to structures, basic, simple ones that you can do without the help of any carpenter. We can do that. So I'm going for a quick break. I'll be right back. So if you're just tuning in, you're watching the Ghanaian Farmer. My name is Enyonam, and this week on the Ghanaian Farmer, we are still with our friend farming in Africa, Fred, and he's taking us through everything that there is to know before you go into your goat farming. So we had talked about this particular structure which he started with, and he's brought up new concept that he's introducing for startup farmers. We are very passionate. We want you to find the journey very smooth than he did. And so we are going to be walking through the structures so you get to see what he has here. And Fred is joining me now. So Fred, before we went on break, we talked about the wire mesh type of structure and then the wooden one. And you are even saying that this one is even a bit higher in terms of putting together compared to the wood. So it means that if I'm a new farmer, you would advise me to start with the wood, right?
Yeah, so you don't need a wire mesh basically to do this.
Okay.
I decided to use it, you know, because I think it will last longer than the wood for me. The actual pen is still wood. Better ventilation, visibility for me when I'm walking through this path. This is basically the path they use to enter each. I'm able to see every animal because I think one of the things we do is a morning routine. Every morning we make sure that we touch, see, and feel every animal. So it helps me have better visibility, but you don't need to use a wire mesh.
Okay.
You can use wood as well to basically create this. When you use wood, that means that it has to be closer to each one another so that they don't pass through and access another pen.
Okay.
As you can see, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pen here. At the moment, we only use about 5 of them.
Okay.
We use this breed, is all female breed, the Sahelian breeds.
Okay.
That's what they keep them here.
Right.
We keep the boa goat females here. Here we keep only pregnant local dwarf.
Okay.
We keep lactating moms, and then we keep kids there.
Okay.
And then we keep males at the other side as well.
Okay.
Right.
So one concern I was asking you whilst we were going on break has to do with rusting of the wire mesh. Because when it rains, there's the sun, there's another rain. Are you not scared of it rusting?
No. This is a galvanized wire mesh, so
Okay.
it doesn't rust. We're also lucky we are not by the sea or anything
Yeah.
for the saltiness to rust it. So this have been here for about 2 years and it hasn't rusted yet. So
Okay.
very pleased with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So each pen normally would take how many goats?
So it depends. This pen, we do about 40 to 60 females.
Okay.
That one we will do maybe about 30 goats in there. So yeah, it depends. Also, the key thing is the exercising. Yeah, when they are inside, I don't really mind because at night when they are sleeping, they actually like to be closer to each other for heat. But when they are out here and they are exercising and playing, you want to make sure that they have enough room to run, jump around.
Okay.
You see that when their food come and they eat, the moment they finish eating, they will start dancing, jumping around,
Okay.
right? And you want to give them that room.
Okay.
And that is the reason why I've moved from this concept
Yeah.
into this concept.
Okay.
Even with chicken, people say that when you have them confined, they are depressed,
Okay.
but that's why people like organic chicken
The
where
free
they are free range,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The same concept I have with these
For the
goats,
goats.
so that they can also have that free range and exercise.
Okay. I also see that you have some used car ties
Yeah.
with bowls in it.
Yeah.
What is the use of that in the pen?
Yeah, so that's their drinkers. So the drinkers, if you don't put it inside the car ties, they can kick it off, even when they are struggling. So what we've done is to put it in the middle of the car tie just to create stability as compared to just putting that drinker bare on the floor. And the ones you've seen here is
Yeah.
basically a playground.
Okay.
So the goal is, for them to jump. Goats like to jump around
know.
and exactly. So
Right.
doing that so that they jump on it and they jump off and so on and so forth.
Okay. I also realized that pen is well swept.
Yeah.
And I'm pointing there. Why are you sweeping there? I mean, what does it add up to the whole process?
Cleanliness, man. Cleanliness. If you don't, as I said, virus, parasites, bacterials, and their poop, the feces is going to bring all those things to you. So you want to keep it clean, especially if this is where they spend majority of their time. You don't want to have their poops here.
Okay.
Right.
Let me enter and see. Okay, Fred, please take the lead. Okay, so this is it. It's well swept and everything is clean. However, so because you elevated the structure, I can see all the poop down there. What becomes of the poop? Do you use it for anything?
So mostly we just throw it into the grass as a manure, right? So the big one, we normally collect it once every month and then we just spread it. And then when it rains, it just forms part of
Fertilize
the soil for us.
Okay, the last thing we're going to touch on before we call it a day on this episode has to do with costs that goes into starting goat farming. No matter how small or big is it, the costing, is there any breakdown you can do for a fresh farmer or a startup farmer for him to have a fair idea, not the exact amount, but a fair idea of how much I should be looking at if I have goat farming on my agenda this year?
Yeah, so like I said, if you have access to these raw materials that I have, or even if you try to find something similar, try as much not to spend more than maybe 3,000 if you're starting. And 3,000 could build you a pen that you can have about maybe 20 to 30 goats in it. Once you do that, the next thing you're going to do is your feed, right? As a beginner, you want to make sure you plant your feed. And that's why we have the cementia grass. So, even start that first. Plant the feed during this rainy season. If you can even buy the starter pack, so we have like 100 grams.
Okay.
Plant that. That's just 200 cedis. Plant that. After about 4 weeks, uproot it like you're destroying it.
Yeah.
Cut it into pieces. One root will give you maybe 20.
Okay.
Propagate it again. So even if you plant like one plot and you give yourself 2 months, you would end up having about 1 acre of food.
Okay.
Once you have that, start harvesting that food and storing it as hay. Do that continuously for about 3 times. You have your hay store. Now start looking for your breed.
Okay.
Right. So if you want to go with the local breeds, as I said, if you go into the villages, you get for maybe 500, 700. Start with 10. Like give yourself maybe 5,000. Right. Go into it. Test it out. Medications. If you do proper management, the same way you think the place is clean.
Yeah.
Do that. If you do that, you spend less on medication.
Okay.
But if you don't, then you spend your money rather vaccinating and treating them. So with medication, we have a plan that could cost you with about 20 goats, could probably cost you about maybe 500 cedis, vaccinations that you can run for the whole year, right? And with this, I think you'll be able to start.
Okay.
So I think with 20 goats, we're looking at somewhere. It's hard to cost because then management also coming in and so on.
Yes.
But maybe between 10,000 to 20,000, you can definitely start something.
Okay.
Right? And then you give yourself a year, see how profitable it is, see how your stock has increased, and then make the decision for yourself.
You see, give myself a year. So when potting pan, I can start selling and making profit.
The reason why I say that is livestock farmers, when it gets, we actually don't like selling.
Okay.
Because we want to grow. It's not like maize where you have to harvest and sell.
Okay.
If I start with 5, my goal is not 5.
Okay.
My goal is to have 200.
Exactly.
So the year I'm giving you, the year will come, you wouldn't even want to sell. You want to
keep them to
exactly.
multiply.
But what you do is you sell the males.
Okay.
Because you need only 1 male.
Right.
Right? And even with the male, I don't advise you keep a male in your farm to breed. When you need a male, you go out and you buy again. So your profit is going to be the males,
Okay.
right? So if you start with, let's say 2, at the end of the year, if you breed them twice a year, that means you get 4, plus the one you bought, plus the male, you've gotten 6. Out of the 4 you breeded, 2 is going to be male. Okay. So at the end of the year, you sell 2. Okay. Don't forget you started with 2. Yeah. So at the end of the year, you're actually selling and getting the money you invested in your stock. Right there, you've broken even. And that is why it's very important that you don't invest too much into the structure and other things, but rather your stock, because that's where your money is.
All right. So, oh my goodness, it has been very fruitful. I am super excited because we've been planning this trip for some time now. So I'm excited that we've managed to actually start our new year in farming in Africa right here, Semensha Farms in Brekum. And it's been an enlightening videos we have done so far. So if you're out there and you've been looking for an extensive breakdown of videos on goat farming, this is it. The Ghanaian farmer has brought it. So go watch, relax, but if you need more information, you can reach out to Farming in Africa. They are on all social media platforms. You can find them. Their numbers are there. Their website address are there. Call them for further consultation and they'll help you start your journey. Until then, let's explore other pens that I've not. Let me go and enter before they come. They are coming. They will come very soon. Let me go and see if I could get something there to see. But definitely, it's been a great journey. Hey, and Crawford Chile, they even have some, come inside and see. They are having fun. This is good. But I would have to ask Fred to join me. And then we'll wrap it up here. Fred, come. This thing, I only see it in poultry farm. Is it like the water they step in before they...
No. This is not the water they step in. No.
I just needed you to clarify because when you go to poultry, you see them having some water.
Disinfect your feet. No, this is not it.
All right. So this is New Year 2024.
Yeah.
What is that message you want to send, drum home to young people who are still dragging their feet? Oh, next year I'll start. And those who are already in it, Is farming smooth or hard? Does it pay? I mean, please, you have been in this space for a long time. What do you have to share? New Year message.
I think farming does pay. I've seen rich farmers, I've seen very successful farmers, I've been a testimony of it. But it's not an easy journey, and it's not a job for the lazy guys. Like, I would rather you take your time and you seek the knowledge you need instead of losing your investment. Because the more people that loses money, the more the bad perception about farming spreads. Farming doesn't work. Oh, farming there, like, yes, if you don't have the knowledge, you will. Just like any profession, right? Most people come to me and they say, Fred, I want to start a farm. And I ask them, are you a farmer or a producer? Says a farmer. I was like, what makes you a farmer? He said, oh, I've been farming, yeah, I'm crying. I was like, yes, but if you continue doing that, that's the same reason why our moms and fathers couldn't make it out of it. Because if we bring that same technology without improving it, we are going to fail as well. So most of us go into farming thinking we are going to be farmers. Then you should be willing to learn. And learning means making mistake and losing. Okay. But if you're going into this year and you want to make profit, seek the knowledge. Seek it. It's around there, right? Contact us. Contact and let us help you so that you can protect your investment. We've made so much mistakes that you don't need to repeat it. And that's why we are doing this every day, creating content so that you guys will have the information to make the right decision for yourself.
Okay, so that's it. I think he summed it up all. You need the knowledge. If not, you would lose your investment and then you would conclude that farming is not worth it. But that's not it. My name is Enyonam Manye. When you see me in town, call me Ghana's finest farmer. This is 2024 and you have no excuse than to actually invest into agriculture. It is very important. Do not keep postponing. There is no best time or good time to start. It starts today. Seek the knowledge and get the right partners and start off. But until then, thank you very much for watching.